What's up, homies, fellow nappers? Gonna give the old abo notching a try again. I'm gonna try to get like a little tri-notch point or something. I have this old biface that I kind of gave up on a long time ago. It kind of had like a weird spot on it. There's like a little hollow dish in there and stuff. I'm gonna see if I can fix it and then maybe do like a little narrow entry notch with it. So let's see what we can do. I'm gonna raise that edge, thicken the edge, raise the edge. Always push down away from the side you're working to raise that edge up higher so that you can take flakes across that surface. Okay, and then, oh, what I do with my grinding stone. Here it is. This is my favorite grinding stone for obsidian. It's like a quartz. I love the rougher grinding stones that's more like lava rock with the holes in it. It works super good on the flints, but on the obsidian it actually takes flakes out, and I've broken points before and messed them up, so I'm finding this quartz works super good. So let's rip a couple flakes across this uneven surface and see if I can make it look better. Ever since I started doing that reverse grip with the obsidian, I'm able to really push in and get some pressure. As long as the edge is thick enough, I can clean up all of those ugly edges with real nice pressure flakes. That was a pretty good little flake there. So then I'm learning to space them apart. There's another really good. That flake broke up, but as you can see, I mean, it went all the way across, damn near across the whole thing. Now I have a nice ridge here to take another one. Oops. The edge is crushing on that one, so I'm gonna have to rework that edge. So that's what I was doing wrong before with obsidian when I was getting the uneven surfaces. I just simply wasn't grinding it enough, and I was having too many edge collapses and too many crushed edges, so I really grind the heck out of these now. Of course, when you're done thinning your little biface, you're left with a super dull thing that you have to resharpen the whole entire edge, but that's okay. Still crushy from before, but I'll get it. It's funny, when I was a kid, I used to go out in the desert and find little flakes. I didn't know how to spall or anything, but I'd find little flat debitage or flakes. And then I'd set it like on a table, and I'd use an antler, and I kind of angle it and I'd push off from the top, and it actually worked taking flakes, but you know, you can snap the whole point. But basically like that is how I used to do my pressure flake and make some points. But there was another runner that ran really far on that. Again, took the other side off. It ran all the way across and took some of my edge off, so we got to be real careful with obsidian and those overshot flakes. Let me see if I can zoom into that. You can see So that flake went from there, wrapped all the way around the point, and then you can see right there that dip it took out the other side. That one luckily stopped right there and didn't go too far. What's weird is I'm finding with the antler pressure flake on obsidian anyway, I used to sharpen all my tools super sharp to a point, like, you know, imagining like the copper tips or whatever, but you actually need that flat little edge right there to grab the edge and flake down. So that's something I'm learning, is like it actually goes to your benefit to have a little bit of wear on the end of the stick there. And unfortunately I'm going to lose some width because of that flake that went off. It's going to be a pretty small bird point now, but that's okay. Still got this bad area right here. I got to focus on that and get that off because that looks really ugly. We got a little reprieve from the heat there for a couple days. The high was like 100, and then we're back, I think 110 today, and then I think it's gonna really heat back up next week by Monday or Tuesday, back to the like 110s probably. So that's no fun. Really limits the flint napping. I'm gonna work on building a shed with an air conditioner and napping shed that I can do it, so I'm not out here trying to flint nap at like 5 in the morning. I'm out here at 3 right now, so it's kind of the hottest part of the day. There we go. That took a bunch of that ugly part off. When I'm starting to pressure flake the wings, when I'm putting the notches in, that's moving too much, and then this is collapsing and it's interacting too much with the ears, and I'm breaking too many of them. So he recommended putting a flat little stone in there that, you know, can support the middle. I've seen some of the rounded pads that people use, but I've always just used a piece of leather. So I'm gonna get a little flat stone and put it under there today and try it when I get to the wing part. It's kind of cool. When I first started napping, I have a bucket of like little brokes and little bifaces that didn't come out very good. I just wasn't happy with them. I'm kind of picky with my stuff, so I'm kind of digging through that, finding a lot of pieces like this one that I think I can save now that I've gotten a little bit better at the flint napping. Clean up the ones that had some imperfections in them. That was a really good flake right there. Another good peeler. It's funny, I call them peelers. Oh, see.
You can do it! You can do it! Come. It ain't easy. telling you, it ain't hard either. All you gotta do is keep hustling, man. Don't ever give up.
Alright, here's a biface I made a while ago with percussion only with that of Georgetown. It's a little thicker than I like because I'm, not as good with percussion or on this raw rock, but I'm gonna try to finish this out and turn it into like a spear. It'd be really nice to do like a corner notch or something. I see one more spot right here I might be able to take a flake, so let me try that. Thin it down right there. And then I learned not to overgrind on these rocks because the antler likes to grab the sharper edge. It can handle it a lot better than like obsidian. Wasn't much of a flake, but it did flake out. Alright, that's just kind of chewing up this antler, so I'm going to try to pressure flake it. So I got some high spots here. I made an awesome ishi stick with buffalo horn, and it was working really good, but I don't know if the buffalo horn was dried out too much or what, but man, it cracked. It was really neat. It seemed to grab really well and working good, so man, I gotta try to remake that ASAP. Okay, and then now I'm just looking for low spots below the center line that I can take a nice flake. So there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. Oh, what a beautiful flake that was. And look, it fell. The flake broke and didn't fully release. I noticed this on a lot of the Flint original artifacts. There's a lot of hung up, like not really a hinge, but it's just like a little piece that the fracture broke all the way through, but that piece just didn't come off. I've heard you can use another flake and try to get under there. It's not wanting to come off. Damn, that's strange. All right, on to the next one. That was another beautiful flake, and see how they're not detaching very well? It's really weird. But man.
Yeah! You're gonna die, clown!
Man, that was a nice flake. Very strange. Oh, there she goes. Finally popped off. Okay, it's kind of thick here in the tip area. So let me raise that edge and see if I can fire some flakes across there. It's quite the workout, flint knapping this raw rock. Now I know why a lot of people use those ishi sticks and stuff, because man, it's pressure flaking, it's pretty tough. Really nice flake. Another really nice flake. Really nice flake on the tip there. That edge crushed a little bit, but then I got it with that next flake. So that's cool. Okay, this side all has some really nice work flakes there. So now I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to raise this edge a little bit. Try to throw some flakes across this one. And I'm sweating balls out here. It is hot. I don't know how the ancestors did it, man, out here in the desert. Got a funny little high spot. I'm gonna see if I can take a percussion flake here and get a bunch of this bump off. It's kind of risky, but I don't know if pressure is gonna get that bump off. Now I'm gonna miss a bunch of times, because I'd rather miss and barely skim the edge than strike too far in and either break the point or gouge it out. So that's part of the thing, is I end up missing a bunch of times. By jolly, it worked. Had to be hit pretty hard though. Damn, how did that flake go? It must have broke part of it, because it's not. Oh yeah, it did. That was a good flake. Really thin that tip. Now I got a big old bump right here. I should be able to do the same thing. Damn, I hit my nail and broke my nail here. Oh, there's another beautiful flake. Super scary though, like feels like I could break the whole thing, but it's really working. That's what I'm talking about. This one I could probably strike, but I really risk breaking it there on the tip, so that's a pressure flake. We'll get that bump off, but man, that thinned that tip out a bunch. So that's excellent. I thought this was past the point of percussion flaking. Another super good flake right there. Man, studying the ancient points, now I'm wondering if on some of this Georgetown and stuff, if they didn't percussion it a lot longer than we thought, because you can get some flakes that look like little pressure flakes on there. But I'm not using the round antler with the big bulb around that makes a bigger bulb of percussion. I'm using this flat edge one that is angled, and it kind of grabs the edge and just scrapes and scrapes until it catches enough that it, you know, peels it or releases it. That's what I'm guessing is happening. I'm not 100% sure. There we go. Okay, that rest needs to be pressure. Shoot, now I should try to thin the base a little bit more like that, because that, I mean, that helped tremendously there, thin that section. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I am gonna need to notch this thing, so it would be in my benefit with raw stone to get it a little thinner, so I know I'm gonna struggle notching it anyway. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. That's literally almost like a flute flake. But that was off of a continuous platform. Talk about a nice thinning flake, man. Wow. That's cool. I'm actually saving that one to study it. So it's crazy with this type of antler, you can see the little lines in there where it's digging in till it finally bites and then it releases, and you can see just how tiny that little area of impact is right there. It's the tiniest point that it broke loose. It's just so cool to see. Saving that little flake. Okay, let's try to get one off to this side and then maybe one off to that side. Oh, it didn't release, but it fractured all the way to there. I know that's gonna come out because I can see it broke all the way around. I've got to get that out. Because if not, I'm gonna have a big old hinge. Shit, oh no, I just broke the. Ah, my pressure flaker, bro. What a perfect flake. I mean, it went all the way. I can see that went all the way to there and went all the way to there, and it just didn't release on that one. All right, I'm gonna just cheat. Sometimes you can tap them. If I knew where that flake was, Mr. Jack Crafty on YouTube, he put one of the flakes back in one time into the same channel that it came out and hit it again, and then it pushed against it and it shot the hinge off, but I don't know where the piece of that flake went. Might be it, but yeah. Might just have to try to come from the side and take that off. There's a lot of original artifacts that have that those hinges like that. It took the top part of it off. Now let's see if I can do one here. So now it took half of it off, so it hinged there in the middle. So now I think that that'll pop off, but I lost a whole bunch of width over there. Holy crap, man. I don't know what the key on this stone is. There it goes. Just popped it out. That's a little better. And that's a pretty deep hinge there though. It's weird, I hit it on that side to try to raise that up so I could go here, but the platforms are still hanging off that side. There we go. That was a nice flake. Thin that down nicely. Pressure will probably get that ugly spot off, so I'm going to start working on that. Man, I lost a lot of width on this. That's kind of a screw up, but if they're too thick, it's no good either, so sometimes you gotta lose some width to thin it out. See what we can do. Just not very good at raw stone. So used to the obsidian over the last couple of years. Super nice flake. I don't know what that means when the flakes break in half before they detach. If it's not a high enough quality of stone or what, but a lot of the pressure flakes are breaking in half before they fully detach. That was nice. That was a real big high spot right there. You definitely got to work on that tip. I got a big old fat bump right there. Man, that just disintegrated my horn. Okay, that's a lot better. Let's do this side. Okay. I've got some high spots here, so I'm going to raise this edge and try to pressure flake a little bit more here in this area. Yeah, buddy. So weird percussion flaking at this stage, you know. And I used to do all this with indirect, but I'm working on, you know, abo and learning percussion because I, you know, only really know how to do indirect. So that's the reason why I'm not doing indirect right now, but that's the most efficient way at this stage, I think, to do it. But I just want to get a little bit better with this. So. There we go, man, that thinned that down a lot. That kind of didn't go the way I expected it to. Okay, so I got a real big high spot here. So let me try to... Am I in? Okay. Okay, raise that edge. Damn, I keep missing. Finally, got her. Okay, cool. That's what I wanted, was that thinning flake right there. Okay, and then I'm gonna do a couple percussion flakes up this side, and then that's it. The rest is gonna be pressure, so that's coming along really nice. Ah man, my OCD. I could probably take a percussion flake there and really thin some of that off. It's super scary. Super scary. Yeah, that's so narrow now. I'm just gonna do, I'm not even gonna chance it. You know, that's, I can percussion that. Or pressure flake it, I mean. Let her rip, tater chip. Whoa. What happened there? I took a really nice flake and next to it, it's like strange. That was the flake I wanted. It's a little high right here. Hi, Sashi. Hi, baby. Are you hot? Let's go inside. It's too hot out here for you. I know you want to be out here with Daddy, but it's too hot, baby. Want to go inside? Let's go inside. Flakes aren't traveling as good all of a sudden. Not sure what's up with that. That was a pretty good one. Okay, let's do this side. I got that big dip in there from when I was doing the percussion. One of them kind of dove in right there. So maybe I can smooth that up a little bit. At least it's a little breezy, even though it's super hot. That breeze helps a lot, as long as you're not out in the sun. Worked, but the flake broke again. So close, man. Is this one gonna detach? Yes, it is. Good. Nice. Cool, I got rid of that ugly ass dip in there. Now I just gotta pressure flake some here to get that high ridge where that stopped off in there, and we'll be able to notch now. I think before it wasn't looking good for notching with that kind of thickness. I don't want to take it this far and break it with a percussion strike, so let's do some more pressure. So I'm hoping if I raise this edge up, I'll be able to shoot one in here and get a bunch of this mess off right here. So let's see. Kind of thin right there, so I'm hoping it doesn't collapse. I'm going to grind the piss out of it. Normally you don't want to grind flint that hard because then the flakes don't want to release, but I really need to make sure that edge doesn't collapse. Then I'm going to do a different method. I'm going to put it on there and put it between my legs and see if I can squeeze and really build up some pressure. Teeny tiny flake, but it did take some of it off. There we go. Oh God, it left an island, bro. That flake doesn't want to release. Oh, it came off. Sweet, I got lucky on that one. Okay, so that took care of most of that problem. Now if I shoot some across this way, I can maybe get some more of that off. Had that big old biface and now I'm left with this little small point, but that's okay. I want a true arrow point anyway because I'm trying to make a set of arrows. And I don't want an atlatl point or spear point that's too heavy to be shot. I want a true arrow point, and those obviously aren't that big, so probably going to work out nicely. Wow, another good flake. It broke, but that's a pretty good long flake for antler. Wow, there's another one. That whole entire face right there just totally cleaned up. There's another one. Man, the edge collapsed. That's the problem with trying to do that. No guts, no glory, man. It's all a learning process. That island is just not gonna come off. I can get it off, but then I'm gonna have to make it even more narrow, and I don't want to do that. And I'm gonna put a notch right there anyway, so let's try to notch her up. Alright, I'll be back, guys. I broke that notching tool, so that island's gonna stay there. So let me see if I can make another one real quick. Alright, let's see if there's any chance of notching this thing. I'm gonna go to the nasty side first that I hinged right there and see if I can save it. Son of a bitch. Well, my notching tool broke again, so at least it didn't cut me. I'm gonna just have to do it with my other tool and keep on trying on the next video. I'm gonna try to put this little round rock underneath and give me some support. The leather, because it's been collapsing on me lately. Almost make like a domed pad. Yeah, having that round rock under there is definitely keeping the ear up from pushing into the pad, but it's just a little awkward because the point's rocking. But yeah, it seems to be working. I need to find a really thin oval stone, I think, and then glue leather on it, and I think that'll be the ticket. And my thing's bending. Okay, so there's one. Let's do the other side. The notch almost needs to be right where that bump was sticking out. That's kind of a bummer. There you go. Okay, and then I'm just gonna hollow. And that's a bummer that island didn't come off. Okay, let's hollow this base a bit. Now, if you don't want to be all traditional and everything, I have with Obsidian left an island like this and literally gotten a Dremel modal tool, rotary tool, and just ground that little bump off, and then of course it's polished, and then shot a couple flakes over it and you couldn't tell it was there. But obviously I'm not going to do that. I'm trying to work abo. I already feel like I cheated using the brass, but my notcher broke. I really have to. I'm even thinking about hafting a flake, like a really strong flake, and trying to notch with that, like another flake of stone or something, but I'll figure it out. But it's nice to make this stuff mostly the traditional way, and you know, eventually I'll get to where I can do the whole thing that way. Thick. All right, so that's good. Let's work on this tip, getting this tip even and straight, and then I'll sharpen the edge, and then we're good to go. Okay, let's hollow this base a bit. Now, if you don't want to be all traditional and everything, I have with Obsidian left an island like this and literally gotten a Dremel tool, rotary tool, and just ground that little bump off, and then of course it's polished, and then shot a couple flakes over it and you couldn't tell it was there. But obviously I'm not going to do that. I'm trying to work abo. I already feel like I cheated using the brass, but my notcher broke. I really have to. I'm even thinking about hafting a flake, like a really strong flake, and trying to notch with that, like another flake of stone or something, but I'll figure it out. But it's nice to make this stuff mostly the traditional way, and you know, eventually I'll get to where I can do the whole thing that way. Thick. All right, so that's good. Let's work on this tip, getting this tip even and straight, and then I'll sharpen the edge, and then we're good to go. coming along. Damn it, I just broke the tip. A couple good thinning flakes right there. Since I broke the tip, I needed to thin it just a little bit so I can sharpen the tip again. Almost got her, it's just a tiny bit crooked. Damn it, broke the tip again. Frustrating. The first Georgetown I got, they said was raw and it was super easy to flake. And I don't know if it was heat treated, but they said it was raw. But man, this one is tough. It's definitely different. Doesn't quite look as shiny, so maybe the quality of stone just isn't quite as good, but yeah, I gotta get a better pad. That's what's happening is the pad underneath collapses, and then everywhere where there's a corner or a point, it pushes against the pad and then it breaks it off. So that's why I keep having so much struggles with trying to use this just this piece of leather like that. All right, I'm gonna mount this thing to an arrow and I'm gonna shoot it and see what it does. Overall, I'm pretty happy. Definitely not my best work. Pretty challenging piece of rock for me anyway. But yeah, pretty happy. That's pretty cool. Got that one little island that hung up there, and that's about it.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself.